everyone, and welcome back to the Recovery Channel. So in preparation for this week's session, I was watching week 13, and Phil talked about armoring up for step 4 because it can be a little rough. And he's right, it can be rough, but it can also be a wonderful opportunity for you to build character and grow. It may not be easy, but it'll be worth it. In fact, if you're honest and thorough, it will be amazing. Step 4 can be triggering and painful as you look at your past, but I encourage you to see the hope in it. You can finally step out of denial and start to get honest with yourself and empty that bag of stuff we talked about in earlier videos. That bag of resentment, anger, and fear that gets so heavy and causes so much pain that we had to self-medicate to ease it. It's time to rip off that Band-Aid and expose the wounds so we can move past them. Remember, we can't heal a wound by pretending it's not there. I totally agree with what Phil said. We need to get ready for step 4 and prepare ourselves for any bad thoughts and feelings that might come up. But I encourage you also to get ready for the freedom that will come from the steps that follow. When we share our inventory in step 5, we get 3 things. 3 things. We get support, healing, and freedom. Support from the people we share with, the healing that the program promises, and freedom from not having to carry around all that stuff anymore. This week, we're going to jump into the inventory and talk about how it's filled out. We've provided a worksheet that is a combination of various 12-step program formats, partly because the Recovery Channel addresses a wide variety of addictions, and partly because each program has its strengths and weaknesses. We've tried to bring together the strengths to give you a practical and thorough process. I suggest that you don't try to start filling out the worksheet until you've done all the preparation we've been talking about for the past several weeks, and you've gotten all the way through this video. Also, don't spend more than 20 to 30 minutes on your inventory at a time. Take a lot of breaks. And if you start feeling triggered, stop. Call a friend or your sponsor and get support. One final suggestion. It is very common that when people start doing their inventory, and even when they first get into recovery, they want to make amends with people they've hurt right away. While this is a noble gesture, we strongly recommend that you wait until you reach step 9 before making amends with people. I say this with all due respect, but you're not ready to do step 9 yet. We're only at step 4. There's a reason the steps are in order the way that they're in. As they say in the meetings, more will be revealed. Were you paying attention? I'm going to say it again. More will be revealed. You need the support, healing, and freedom that come from writing your inventory and then working steps 5 through 8. Okay, let's get this inventory moving. We're going to start with a high-level overview of the worksheet, and then we'll drill down into more details. First off, you'll notice that the first tab is positive traits. I'm going to say that again. Make sure you are paying attention. Positive traits. This is another tool we're going to use to keep ourselves grounded during the inventory process, to remind ourselves that we are good people. Our past behaviors and our negative feelings do not define us. Sometimes when we're working the inventory, we can lose sight of that. So every time we work on it, before and after, we review our list of positive traits. Having a balanced inventory is imperative for keeping us from getting discouraged and giving up. We don't want you to stop before that miracle happens. The next 2 tabs are resentments and fears. When I did my inventory the first time, I thought, now what does that have to do with my life and my addictions? The answer is everything. It's amazing how much junk we carry around. That bag of stuff we've been talking about. These things drag us down, and they cause us to act in ways that end up hurting us and those around us. Without us even knowing it, it hurts us and those around us. That's why we act the way we do. We have the desire to do what is right. We just can't carry it out. Can you relate to that? Well, these 2 tabs will help us empty out that bag of stuff and give us a chance to see what's going on. Ultimately, so we can heal. We can heal from them and start living a life of freedom. For now, we just need to identify them and list them out. Make a simple list. The last tab is behaviors, the things we've done. If you're anything like me, it's a pretty long list. We go back as far as we can and list out the things that we've done to others and to ourselves. Typically, it's the things that we feel the most shame around that will come to mind first. And that's good. Shame is a poison that keeps us in our cycle of addiction. We need to expose it so we can deal with it in steps 5 through 7. So that's it. Just 4 tabs. Just a walk in the park on our way to the serenity we so deeply desire. Let's dive into the details now. The first tab, positive traits, is simply a list. Write down anything you can think of that you like about yourself. Sometimes it's hard. So also include the things that other people have said about you. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't worry about it sounding conceited or shallow. This is your list, and no one else is going to see it. Include physical appearance. People have told me I have a nice smile, and they like my dimples. That was my wife. I'm athletic. I have pretty eyes. There's my wife again. Some personality traits. I'm friendly. I'm assertive. I'm easy to talk to. I know how to stand up for myself. I'm clever. And then throw in some aspirational things like I am motivated and capable of change. I am dedicated to my recovery. My life will get better. I can do this. Put down as many things as you can, at least 10. You're going to read this list out loud before and after you work on your inventory. Every time. At least 10 positive thoughts. Let's look at the resentments tab now. The first thing to know about these worksheets is that unlike what we're used to doing, which is doing things left to right, we're actually going to fill this out 1 column at a time. So instead of left to right, we're going top to bottom. You fill in the first column with as many items as you can think of. In this case, it's people, places, and things that you resent. Keep in mind, there is no right or wrong answer. Just start listing everything that pops into your mind. Don't talk yourself out of listing something. If you're tempted to leave something off, it's probably the very thing that most needs to be on there. I resent my job. I resent my spouse. I resent my parents. I resent my kids. I resent my high school PE teacher. I resent my current living situation. Let it fly. Don't hold back. And remember, don't worry about the next columns yet. Just keep listing your resentments. It might take 3 or 4 sessions to get everything down, especially if you're being honest and thorough. Do it in small pieces like we suggested. The second column is the why. Why do you have this resentment? Was it something the person did to you? What happened? If it's something like your job that you resent, it might just be because it keeps you from doing the things that you'd rather be doing. It takes up too much of your time. Some things are little things, and some things are a little harder, especially when it comes to your family. I resent my dad because he never did anything with me, and he made me feel useless. I resent my brother because he teased me. I resent my spouse because they don't appreciate or respect me. I resent my childhood home because I never felt safe while I was there. Personally, I resented my drinking and drug use because it was ruining my life. Again, we're going to fill the whole column for each thing we listed before we go on. The third column is about the impact the thing had on you when it happened. This one takes a bit of deep thought and insight, as it isn't always obvious. Just do the best you can and trust in the process. Remember that? Trust in the process. For example, if you resent that your brother teased you, the impact could be that it made you feel small. It made you angry. It made you believe that you were really the things that he was calling you. You were fat. You were ugly. You were stupid. Or if your resentment is that you had a hard time making friends in high school, the impact could be that you felt like a loser and started doing drugs to feel better and to fit in. The fourth column is how the resentment is still impacting you today. How is that resentment impacting you right now? Again, this one might take some digging into your emotions, but give it a try. When you think about the resentment, how do you feel? And what does it make you want to do? On the surface, it might be that it makes you feel angry and want to lash out or go do your drug of choice. But deeper, it might make you feel helpless. And as a result, you want to control things. Maybe, and this one is hard to hear, maybe it's causing you to treat your kids the way you were treated as a kid. Be honest with yourself. Be honest the best you can. Okay, we're going to take a break and pick this up again next week. You can go ahead and get started on your inventory now. Remember, do the first tab first. It's important. Then the resentments tab, one column at a time. One column at a time. Just wanted to make sure you were paying attention. I'll be back next week to talk about the rest of the columns and tabs. Until then, remember, recovery is possible today. For now, here's Phil to give you the next exercise in our mindfulness work.
Thanks, Chris. So hopefully this past week you all had a chance to practice the mindfulness exercises we talked about, focusing on one sense at a time and describing as much as you could about what that sense was picking up. Now we move from our senses and describing what's going on around us to what's going on inside us. We do this with the same set of skills we talked about last week. We observe and describe using factual words rather than judging words. Nothing is good or bad, it just is. Let's jump in and try it right now, and then you'll do this on your own a couple more times this week. Don't worry about what's on the screen. I'm going to put up some imagery. Close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. Take at least 4 to 5 seconds drawing in the breath. Then, purse your lips like you're blowing out a candle and breathe out, nice and slow for a count of 6. Again, in for 4, out for 6. Nice. Okay, now just resume normal breathing. Notice how the air feels coming into your lungs. Notice how your stomach rises and falls, what that feels like. Now, do a body scan, starting at the top of your head and working your way down. How does your scalp feel? Your head, your cheeks, the skin on your face. Are your shoulders tight and bunched up, or are they relaxed? How about the muscles in your arms, the palms of your hands? Continue to scan down your torso. There are the lungs, the stomach again, rising and falling, filling and emptying. Now move to your legs. How do the backs of your legs feel against what you're sitting on? Continue down your legs to your feet, all the way to your toes. Any tingling, itchiness, or pain? Warmth or looseness of the muscles? Take it in. See if you can describe it. Okay. Take another deep breath and come back into the room. Congratulations! You were just completely mindful of your body. Hopefully, you used a few descriptive words along the way. Don't worry if nothing came to you. It's actually pretty hard to come up with the words. The point of this is to notice how your body feels. And that's it. Your homework is to start your inventory and do this exercise once or twice more this week. As you saw, it only took about 3 minutes. Okay, go rock your Step 4 inventory. I am super proud of you all for being brave and doing this. We'll see you next week with more.